Now we move on to our second product, which is the Cresspedia and the Danziger series paintball. Cresspedia originates from Australia and New Zealand. Its common name there is Billy Button. You can imagine the reason. It looks like a button somewhat. The actual species that we are using is called Cresspedia globosa. Also, similar to Scabiosa, it was known as a seed product, and Danziger has introduced paintball, which is a vegetative product. The first big improvement was uniformity. What you see is a field that comes up together at the same time and therefore gives you a longer flush and higher yields. The second is improvement of the flower head. We're getting much larger flower heads and new shapes coming along from our breeding. Okay, crop overview. So in this case, we're planting 66,000 plants in a hectare. So again, 2 lines of planting along each 1 meter wide bed. But in this case, the spacing is a little bit closer, 25 centimeters from plant to plant. The cycle is quite similar to Scabiosa. Again, a 1 flush, but a long continuous flush. So about 12 to 14 weeks of vegetative stage of the plant growing until it starts producing flowers, and then 16 to 20 weeks of continuous harvest. The yield also in this case will depend on the length of the flush, but in general terms, we're seeing something like 1.3 million stems in this one elongated flush. In this case, no need for initiation to flowering. The flowering occurs naturally based on the physiological stage and age of the plant. Okay, advantages for the US grower. First of all, this is a low labor product. So countries in which labor costs are lower don't have an advantage over you. It's really simple to harvest. As you can see, the stems arise from the base of the plant. It's very clear to see the harvest point. It's very clear to see the harvest stage. Easy work. Also, it's a flexible harvest because you can leave the flowers on the plant for a while until you are ready to harvest them. Let's move into a little bit of the agro-technical practices. Pinching. In this case, the pinching is done considerably lower than we saw before. This is more of like a grassy plant, so we're going really down because we want the stems to arise from the base of the plant, and that will give us high quality and longer stems. Harvest stage. Basically, what you're looking at now is a flower head. It's not really a flower. It's an inflorescence made up of many, many small flowers. The bottom part opens up first, so we're waiting for about 1/3 of the flowers in the flower head to open before we harvest it. And again, it will complete opening within the 1 or 2 days after harvest. So by the time it reaches the end market, it will be fully open and beautifully yellow. Finally, one thing you do need to keep your eye out for is Fusarium. It is Fusarium sensitive. We're talking mainly about soil Fusarium, Doxysporum type. So first of all, soil should be sterilized before you're planting, either chemically or even solar sterilization, meaning covering it with plastic, allowing sunlight to heat up your soil to about 50 degrees centigrade for a period of about 1 month will do the job. Second is try to keep your soil as ventilated as possible so as not to induce the appearance of the fungus. Finally, you can also do some sprays after. They're quite efficient, especially carbendazim will be helpful. And this is what a field looks like. In this case, it's an open field. It can be done in equatorial countries and probably also in 4-season countries, but even better results under cover. Let's take a look at the varieties. Our series, as we mentioned before, it's called Paintball. We have a range of head sizes. The Paintball Globe, which is already a very popular variety, is considerably larger than the seed products with a head size of between 0.8 to 1 inch in diameter. Then we have the Paintball Pop for the medium size of 1.2 to 1.4. And our newest edition, the Jumbo, with a very large head of 1.5 inches. Stems are very long and stable. Growth is uniform, so the grower is really happy about this. An interesting thing about Cresspedia is that it can also be tinted. It can be done in 2 ways. One way is immersion, basically dipping the flower head into a color solution. And in this case, we can achieve strong, vibrant colors, as you can see in the photo on the left. Second system would be by spraying. There are several companies that produce special spraying colors for cut flowers. And in this case, you can achieve pastels. You can even get shiny colors to make a really nice and interesting effect. I'll just mention that paintball is used in many ways, among others, table arrangements. So these colored paintballs are really, really popular. Okay, I think we'll take a short break here because I think we have a question here from someone. Okay, the question is it necessary to perform a pinch in Crespedia and Scabiosa? Well, we did show that a pinch is performed. However, I will say that it can also be done without a pinch. What is the price? The price is that if you're not pinching, the plant will develop faster. So it is mainly done for people that don't have enough time and want to come out quickly with the harvest. In Israel, for example, because we have a very hot summer and are forced to plant late, we then want to have an early flowering, we won't pinch. The other side of it is if you don't pinch, you'll have less of a vegetative growth and it will take more time for the plant to produce that vegetative base and give you the potential yield that you actually require. So I hope I answered that question. There's two sides to it. Whether to pinch or not, we usually recommend to pinch, but if you need to come out quicker to the market, you can avoid pinching and you'll save about 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, let's move on to our next crop, which